what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Hey everybody, this is Dr. Matt, and this is Take Back Your Health podcast, where we talk about all things health and ways to help you be the best version of you. Hey everybody, this is Dr. Matt. This is Take Back Your Health podcast, and I'm here today with another friend of mine, Sean, with the Shamanic Touch massage, or is it just Shamanic Touch?
The Shamanic Touch.
The Shamanic Touch. Okay. Well, I'll let you explain a little bit about yourself and what your practice does and how long you've been in Hickory, things like that, before we kind of get into the nitty gritty here.
Awesome. Sounds good. Hey, thanks, Matt, for having me on. I really appreciate the time. Enjoy talking with you as always.
Absolutely.
So I got into shamanic healing a little after my military service, after I retired. Traveled around a lot with the military, ended up in Marion for a little while, and then moved to Hickory about 6 months ago after Helene, and just been integrating into the community.
Oh, you've only been here 6 months? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I thought you'd been here a little longer than that. Well, thank you for your service, first of all, by the way.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
So you're new, right?
I am new.
You're super
Still
new.
green to Hickory area.
I got you. So where are you located at, first of all?
I'm in the Viewmont area.
Okay.
Up off of 127.
Gotcha. So you're close to me. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's just get into the nitty gritty. Shamanic healing. What is that?
So at a high level, shamanic healing is a type of spiritual healing that aims to align people with their higher self and their higher purpose.
Okay. So are you a massage therapist?
I am also a massage therapist.
Okay. And that's just how you integrate massage and the shamanic healing together?
It's an option. It depends on what client needs.
Okay. So I guess as far as that go, we'll get into that here in a second, but what does a typical visit look like in your office? Let's just start there.
It starts off like a lot of healing sessions with folks. There's typically an assessment and just some time talking with the client about what's been going on, and then formulating a plan from there with them and talking about some of the potentials and how we might work with the issue.
But do you tackle certain issues specifically, or is pretty much anybody a good referral for you? Or do you look for specific clients or referrals or things like that? Or are you just typical, I don't want to say typical massage therapist, but like, sure, if somebody was interested in trying out your profession, your services, what would make them a good candidate, I should say?
What would make them a good candidate is if they have a potential history like mine, where I tried a lot of other modalities. I tried talk therapy. I tried massage therapy and, some different things like that. But I felt like it was a deeper spirit-related item.
Gotcha. So when when the typical is not working, let's try something different. Gotcha.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I find that a lot with chiropractic too. A lot of people usually come to chiropractic once they've tried everything else and they can't find that anything else is giving them the relief that they're wanting. But as far as shamanic healing and massage, how do you integrate it into your practice? Are you actually massaging patients, or is it more you're not really touching them? I guess I'm giving people an idea of how it's different.
Sure. So sometimes I will use hands-on, especially if someone has some type of physical manifestation of something in their body and they have a trigger point that may be associated with that particular thing. I can work with that in a massage capacity. And then on the shamanic side of things, it's using a lot of drums. That's a primary thing that I use as a tool, because the drum is unique in that it connects people with their heart space. Okay. And going into the heart is a really good way of connecting with that inner spirit and like what's holding me back. So
like, was it chakra? What do they call it?
Chakras is one way. Gotcha. Energy centers is a pretty generic thing to look at. And some of the things can sit differently in energy centers, like grounding associated with the root center.
Because I am very new to all of this. This is why I don't mean to be ignorant. Is it similar to like when they have the bowls at the sound therapy? Is that what it's called, the sound therapy? Is it similar to that?
It's similar. There are a lot of crossovers. The drum has a unique type of resonance that also is very similar to the way the bowls work.
Gotcha.
And I also work with bells that also work on a little bit higher frequency level of things, but very similar applications.
Yeah. So obviously the drum is your biggest tool that you use, I guess.
Absolutely.
And is it more, I guess, a little bit about the history behind it? Is it more like tribal based, or what's the theology behind the whole shamanic healing?
So the
And
word,
how'd you get into it?
Sure, for sure. So the word shaman comes from Siberia.
Okay.
And the tradition I'm a member of is out of Khakassia specifically. And it is a very old practice, but it's an old practice that most cultures have some type of rooting in. And it's all around that land connectedness, connecting with different elements of the environment and the world around us, and then relating with that and how we can use that for healing.
Awesome. How long have you been in this industry, I should say?
So I started my journey in 2022 after retiring from the military and realizing there was something that was off. And I was searching and looked at a couple of different options and then found the community I'm part of and then joined them in 2023 and then became initiated into the tradition from there.
Awesome. So are there other people around here that you like collaborate with, or is this kind of like a standalone? Or because I know I had met a couple months ago at our social club, Walking Tall. I think is she is she affiliated with you as well, or is she?
We work in a very similar capacity, different traditions.
Gotcha.
We do have folks in the United States. There are about 10 to 12 of us in the U.S. Most of the folks are in Europe.
Gotcha. So there's nothing. So there's nothing really around here.
Correct. The closest person to me is in Ohio.
Gotcha. But I know that you said obviously the difference in the energy healing, but like with Reiki, because I've heard of Reiki and things like that. How does that kind of play in what you do, I should say?
Very similar concepts. Energy is present at all times in my perspective. So energy can always be worked with. And where the shamanic level comes in, it's working with, let's go with like a spirit guide or an animal, like a horse. And it's not necessarily a mystical connection. It's like, what does the horse actually do in real life? A horse perseveres. So relating with a horse in that way is something tangible and relatable that we can work with.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not that far-fetched because, I mean, even another clinic that I refer, Walk With Me, Healing Steps, they use horses. They're an equestrian farm. They use horses to help somebody connect when they're going through a therapy session. So, yeah, I mean, it's not unheard of. I know a lot of people, this kind of, practice sometimes is a little bit out there for a lot of people, right. Which, I mean, we're all energy. Every single one of us hold energy. And a lot of the problems that we encounter is because we're not able to process that. So it's pretty interesting to see the profession like yours that can help in a way that nobody else can. Now, I don't know much about Reiki and all that stuff. I've heard of it, but I've never really understood a lot of it. Obviously, most people know what massage therapy is, but you're kind of healing the inside. You're kind of focused more like the soul and the spirit versus the actual physical, because I know I struggle with a lot with patients when they can't figure out, well, I'm not having any physical problems, but I'm still having pain. And you find out that a lot of people's pain actually comes from emotional damage or spiritual damage, things like that. That's something that you could actually help with in ways that typical people would not be able to.
Definitely. I think it all fits into that bigger picture of being complete and being whole, and each different modality has its own role.
Absolutely. How was the training process, or how did you get into this, I should say? Because obviously you don't just pick up a drum and start beating it, right?
Right. That is actually how I started.
Oh, really?
But then I realized that I needed a teacher.
Yes, absolutely. A mentor or something like that.
Exactly.
So how long have you been doing this? I know you've been here a very short time, but you said you started doing this back in 2022. Is that right? So how did the training process and all that look as far as getting into it?
Once I joined the tradition, there was a year-long study process where I learned the history of the tradition itself. And most importantly, I started working on self-healing. Because I had things.
That's a big thing for everybody.
For sure. And it's just things that I needed to work on within myself. And then that provided insights and techniques that I could share with clients. Things that I could speak from my own experience. And like, hey, this worked for me. Let's try this.
Yeah, experience is the best teacher. But yeah, what you had said earlier about how people need to work on their self more. Well, that's basically, I think, most of the world's problems is many people do not spend a lot of time on self-care. Because we have our limits. I mean, most people's ideals are not what they should be when it comes to self-care, like obviously getting your hair done, getting your nails done, whatever. That's not that helps with mental health sometimes, but that's not self-care. Self-care, in my opinion, is things that we do that physically make us better than we were the day before or keep us going. Like drinking water, making you get plenty of sleep, making sure you're taking care of your body, making sure you keep your stress level under control, things like that. How did you find that this helped you, I should say, in your journey?
For sure. It helped me overcome challenges that I didn't know were present, or I didn't know where they were coming from. It was things where I felt like I had a wall that was blocking me from realizing my potential. And I didn't realize what that wall necessarily was coming from. And it just a whole history of culmination of things, of experiences in the military and then in just daily life as well.
So I guess I'm trying to understand how... Okay, well, so basically it sounds like you kind of provide not only massage and some physical relief, pain relief, but you also kind of add the mental health aspect to your kind of like almost, I don't want to say therapy, but kind of like a therapist where you're kind of helping the person maybe not always overcome right away, but realizing that there's something deeper that's causing the issues. Bringing light, I guess, to those issues that they weren't aware of that might be causing their problems.
Very similar to therapy, but from a spiritual perspective, and helping people see and find their own healing within themselves. And I like that you use the reference to light, because that's one of the big things I work with is shadow, because a lot of times our shadows and those past experiences can block us from seeing that inner light that is present and is so powerful and unable to be contained. We just need to see it sometimes.
That's true. But so what would a typical session look like? So if I wanted to make an appointment with you and obviously the whole consultation, well, how in depth do you go? You obviously probably don't start asking people what's your deepest, darkest secret when you're on the first visit. But like, so for somebody that was interested in trying this out as an avenue of health, what does that look like?
Sure. It starts with a consult. And I typically have a phone consultation with folks and just talk a little bit about it, because a lot of folks are unfamiliar with it.
To see if they're a good fit.
Exactly.
Like yeah.
And then we start in the office. We'll go through a little bit more in detail, just kind of general discussion, getting to know each other, establishing trust. That's a big thing. And then we go into a little bit of a drumming session, and then we talk about what the person experienced during that time. And then
so are you just like beating the drum while they're just like meditating, or how does that? I'm trying to get a visualization of what exactly from A to B, what a session looks like.
Typically it's on a massage table that I have set up in my healing space.
Okay.
And just like establishing that comfort and just kind of sinking in, and then connecting with that heartbeat, connecting with the drum, because that's really what ends up shining the light on things. And I do typically work with deeper issues over a number of sessions, because it does take some time to start peeling back those layers of the onion, and then going a little bit deeper from there. And
and you find that people will start to just release emotion, like they'll start crying out of nowhere, things like that. Does that happen? I would
definitely.
Yeah. I mean, that happens sometimes on my table.
I bet. Same with massage. It's very powerful.
It is. When you realize that a lot of your physical pain is, like I say, coming from an emotional trauma that you kind of have, or either childhood trauma is a big one. I'm sure that most people kind of repress and forget about. And a lot of other issues can stem from that as well. Trust is huge when it comes to what we do, because we are more hands-on practitioners. So versus like you go to the doctor, you talk to them for 5 minutes, whatever, get your prescription, you leave. But we try to get to the heart of the issue, and we're actually, I mean, I don't know how much you're physically touching patients, but I physically touch patients every day. So that trust has to be there, because some people aren't comfortable with that, especially if they've been through trauma that they're not familiar, that they want people to know about.
Absolutely. And it can be a little interesting transitioning from a period of drumming to a period of hands-on. So I usually ask the person, does it feel okay if I put my hands on your forehead or something like that?
Yeah. So what have you found to be, I guess, the most beneficial things that you've gotten out of doing these sessions with people? Or what are some, I guess maybe a couple testimonies or something that you've helped patients kind of get through in your short amount of practice that you've had in the 6 months that you've been here? But overall,
So one example was working with a client who was having some recurring dreams that were keeping her up at night. So the drum can kind of help her go a little bit deeper into that. Exactly. And make a connection with what that nightmare is related to. And then maybe resolve it in a little bit more lucid state where there is a little bit more engagement of the brain and control in that situation versus a dream or a nightmare that's happening to me. Another element that I worked with was a client was...
dreams are always fascinating.
Oh, very much so.
I know. I'd love to do an episode on something like that as well at some point. But go ahead.
Sure. No, you're good.
Dreams and nightmares just fascinate me sometimes because it's like a whole other world that we don't think about, but it happens for reasons. And especially if you're having, I tell patients, if you're having a recurrent nightmare or a recurring dream, that's usually there's a reason for that.
For sure.
And then trying to figure that out is obviously, sometimes not as easy, but
right.
Yeah.
And
so
dreams,
it's good to know that you can help people with that.
Definitely. And dreams are a really good insight into some of those things that we may not be conscious of. And sometimes after a session, people are having an increased production in dreams. We're like, whoa, I started dreaming again. And I haven't dreamt since childhood.
Wow. No, that's powerful. So it's like you wouldn't think about that because some medication's not going to do that.
Right.
Might make you have some dreams, maybe.
Right.
Side effects may include. But so before we wrap up here, so what is the best way to contact you? If I'm listening right now and I'm considering learning more or making an appointment with you, how would the best be the way to do that?
The best way is definitely through Instagram because I respond to every message I receive there. My handle is shaman_IN, and that's spelled AYAN.
Gotcha. And you're local here in Hickory.
I am.
Do you, obviously you probably don't work with insurance and all that because this is something that's probably not going to be reimbursed through insurance, just like a lot of the natural health care is not really considered insurance. Just
I have faith we'll get there eventually.
Well, hopefully one of these days, but I think we're getting that way, but you never know. But is there anything else that you'd like to just shout out, throw out there, more, any insight information before we wrap up here?
Just throwing the offer out there. If anybody's interested in even just learning more, happy to jump on a call.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you taking time to kind of explain to us a little bit about some other avenues of health that most people might not be aware of, because it's definitely fascinating, if anything. I mean, I'm not saying it's for everybody, because not everything's for everybody, but you said earlier, sometimes that thing that you might not think is going to be right for you might be what you need because nothing else is working.
Absolutely.
So it's nice to know that there are other natural alternatives out there that are not just taking something that can actually help you unlock your potential in a safe and natural way.
Absolutely. And in our own way. I mean, everybody relates with spirit and the way they relate with spirit.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Sean, for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Matt. Really appreciate it.
If you'd like to learn more about what you just heard, or if you're interested in scheduling an appointment to see how chiropractic can help you, visit our website at newdirectionschiropractic-nc.com. Be sure to follow our social media page for more information on how to be a better you. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.